Hi, everybody. This is Todd Krieger. And today I want to talk to you about micro cheating. When are we splitting hairs? Right? When we split hairs, that's a phrase we use where we're saying we're making a bigger deal out of a little thing. And I think since micro cheating has become such a big word, I want to make sure that you're on the right path of of what this means. Because on one hand, we need trust and we need openness. And I do think micro cheating is a problem. Micro cheating is not full on blatant, having some sexual activity with a real person, whether it's online or whether it's in person. Micro cheating is that gray area. Maybe I called up my ex, and we start to share up, things that are going on in our personal relationships. Hmm. And I don't tell my partner I did it. I would consider that micro cheating. To me, that's not splitting hairs. So, what makes something micro cheating and what makes something splitting hairs, and it really shouldn't be a big deal? Because, see, even though we want openness and we want trust, we also want freedom to breathe, to be ourselves, to realize that my life isn't just about my partner, that there's other parts of me that need to come out, and it comes out with other people, sometimes other people with the same gender as my partner. And I need to know that I need to feel the freedom to be myself. So when is it splitting hairs? What if I call that same um, person, that same ex-partner, because they had some tragedy in their life, and I was really interested in how they're doing, and just I do care, and it was a terrible thing that happened, and maybe I even knew the person that happened to because they were in my life, and I want to find out about it. Is that micro cheating? If I tell my current partner, for sure it is not. Because why? I think if you're calling the ex up to give you a certain feeling, to upregulate you or downregulate you. I use those terms a lot. Upregulating to feel a little more thrilled, a little more alive. Maybe I want to get titillated a little bit, my old partner, or I want to see if they still like me in some way. Or downregulate, like I'm stressed and that person used to be my escape. I'm going to call that person again. That can be a slippery slope. That can be micro cheating. But if I am not calling my ex for any personal regulation, to upregulate or downregulate, I'm just being caring. And I tell my partner, I would say that is definitely not micro cheating. And if you consider that a problem, now you're kind of going to the other extreme where the other person is too straitjacketed in this relationship. Obviously, if a person cheats, commits some infidelity, maybe there's got to be a little straitjacketing for a while. I understand that. I've talked to enough people that are betrayed to understand they need to feel safe. So maybe that person, that's the consequence of breaking the trust, is that you need to reel it in. But uh, in a general way, and especially when someone has not betrayed, that person needs to have the freedom to be who they are. So we need to balance out the need for freedom, the need to be spontaneous, the need to be expressive with the need to be respectful of our partner, and that our partner needs to know what's going on. We don't want to, I call infidelity an interpersonal crime because it steals from their partner the right to make decisions based on what's really true. So the micro cheating part of it is when we're in that gray area that may or may not become a slippery slope, but still you're starting to micro hide, you're starting to have a secret, you're starting to hold back, and it begins insidiously, to break up the sacredness of your bond. So that's why openness is so important. That's why all these talks about micro cheating, I think I really like it because we tend to look at the obvious things, but I'm more into the subtle things too, because that's where we prevent the slippery slopes. So then we need to balance that. If I am going to go to lunch with a colleague of mine who happens to be the same gender as my partner, and and it's because we've worked together and we just want to have a nice lunch together, I think that should be fine. I surely would not want to be prohibited from doing that because um, my partner might have some insecurity, and my partner would not have insecurity personally. I know that because I've done this many times, and there's no sweat off her back. But for some people, they they start to make relationship rules based on their own insecurities. They're based on their own fears, and that's when they're splitting hairs. We got to work on our own insecurities because, again, it has to do with the intent of that person who's seeing the person of the same gender, for example. Again, to repeat myself, if the intent is to have an enjoyable time, but because you have had a good working relationship with this person and you want to go out to lunch, or it's a female friend from your past that you want to catch up on, and your partner knows about this person, and that friend respects your relationship, I think that should be some freedom there to do that. Yes. Again, if there's infidelity that happens, maybe, and it's not with that other friend, well, maybe for a while you got to pull it in until you could heal and develop that trust again. So, anyway, I just wanted to do this short talk about infidelity and mostly micro cheating and making sure that we're not splitting hairs, that we're not being too sterile. We don't want too sterile. We want to be clear. We want to have openness. We don't want secrets. We don't want to be aware of what is my intent. Am I using this person to regulate me? And that's tricky too. Obviously, I have female friends that when I see them, I enjoy them, I'm naturally happy to see them. But I'm not using them to get me charged up. I'm not using them to relax. Then it becomes a slippery slope. So that's what I wanted to say. We want to have freedom. We want to value the freedom even when we're in a committed relationship. And we also want to value the sacred bond of that relationship and make sure that we're open and we're not doing anything to disrupt that sacredness. Thanks for listening. This is Todd Krieger, making the world safe for love.